Hi everyone, Rena here with Mama Elephant. Today I have a how-to tutorial on how to use the Creative Cuts Wiper Surprise Dies. Okay, let's get started with what a Wiper Surprise card looks like. So in the closed position, it's a really cute card. When you pull the card apart at the sides, a nice surprise pops out. And here it's a cute little pig, but you can use all sorts of different images. The largest die in this set is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch size. You'll want to cut out 2 of them. When you cut it out, you will see that there are 2 score marks on each of the panels. You can also take one of the panels and cut it again using a landscape die. Here's an example of a cloud die. And then also here in the sample, you can see that a landscape die was used to create hills. I will be putting sort of the base of the card together, and I use pretty thick paper, so I'm reinforcing the score lines that the die created. And then I will take my panels and then I will fold it the most inner score line away from me and that second score line toward me. And I'm going to do that on both of the panels. Here's the second panel, and then I'm folding away, and then I'm going to fold the second score line toward me. I'll start putting the base together. So you only put adhesive on that side panel there. I'm taking my first panel and only putting adhesive on that side flap. Then I will take that to the other panel and I will adhere it to the side that doesn't have the flap. And I will only do one side for now. You want to ensure that you only put adhesive on that flap. So I'm going to open up the card. I want you to take note of that spine area there. That's where the wiper mechanism will be adhered. When you close the card, you'll put the adhesive on that right flap, and then you'll adhere it to the other one, and that will create your wiper base card. The die set comes with 5 wiper pieces, and you'll have to select one to create your card. When you look at each of the dies, you will see that there's an elephant, and you will also see score marks. So my camera is not picking up the embossed lines, but you will see this in person when you cut it at home. But I've added in the elephants just so you can see where it will be embossed once you cut your dies. The trick to know how to put your wiper surprise piece together is the orientation of the elephant. So when you're dealing with this die cut, when you die cut it at home, you're going to see an embossed image of the elephant. You always want to make sure that your elephant's feet are on the ground. Also, the glue that will adhere this piece to the card will go directly on top of that embossed image. I will go through all the pieces and how to put them together on the base card. So let's start off with this first one. When you are scoring your score lines, which you will see at home when you die cut it, you want to make sure that you are folding it away from the embossed elephant, if that makes any sense. Also, where that embossed elephant is where the glue goes on top of. Always make sure that your elephant's feet are on the ground. So I'm going to flip that over, and that's how you're going to adhere it to the card. You'll see the top portion is sticking out on the top of the base card, and that's where your image will go. Here's the next one. You'll see that I have pre-scored them. And when you score something, you're creating an indent. So when you're folding it into the raised side. So there's my elephant. His feet are on the ground. That's where I'm going to put my glue. I'm going to put it on top of the embossed elephant. And when I glue it down, I'm still making sure his feet are on the ground. The portion that goes above the base of the card, that is where you're going to put your image that you want to pop up. Okay, here's the next one. You can see that my elephant's feet are on the ground. I've pre-scored it. Then there's that little section where he's at. We're going to put glue on top of him, and then we're going to flip it over, but we're going to still make sure his feet are on the ground, and then we're going to put it on that spine of the base card. And then you'll see that little portion peeking up over the base card. That is where your image will go. So here's the next one, pre-scored, elephant feet on the ground, glue on top of the embossed image. We're gonna flip it over, but his feet are still on the ground, and we're gonna put it on the spine. I'm sorry if this is repetitive, you guys, but once you get how to use the die, it's super easy. Here's the last one. Here's the embossed elephant. We're going to put glue on top of him. His feet are on the ground. We're going to flip him over. His feet are still on the ground. And we're going to put it on the spine of the base card. Okay, now that we know how to use the dies, let's start making some cards. So the next clips are just me making cards with each of the wiper dies. Also, so you can see where they come up and you can choose the applicable wiper die for your card design. So for this one, I'm using the panels as is. I'm not using a landscape die to cut the front panel. I have the smallest wiper die here. And again, when you die cut this at home, you will see score lines. You will also see that elephant. I'm putting an E where my elephants are just so you know what I'm doing. So I've put together my base. I'm taking my wiper die, I'm making sure my elephant's feet are on the ground, and I'm putting it on the spine of the base. I'm closing up my card, and then I'm reinforcing my folds. Testing it out, and it works. Yay! I'm taking some images from the latest release. This is the little Chickie agenda with the balloons. I love all the images with balloons. And then I have my favorite bag accessory Chickie, which, you guys, I used the wings for feet. I'm sorry, but here it is, and it totally works. The next series of cards, I will be using various landscape type dies to create the front. For this one, I wanted an ocean theme. I'm using Mermaid Kisses, which is one of my favorite sets. I've used the ocean waves die to create that sea. And I've already pre-cut my images and colored them so we can focus on how to use the wiper dies. I'm going to use a different wiper mechanism die for this one. I've cut it out, and I'm going to put a little E where my embossed elephant is so you know what I'm doing. I'm going to reinforce the score marks which are already on the die, again because I use really thick paper. I'm going to crease it. I'm going to put my adhesive on top of that embossed element, and then I'm going to put it on the spine portion of my front panel, which is the panel that I had cut to make it look like ocean waves. I will make sure that my wiper mechanism is nicely adhered to that spine of that front panel. I'm now ready to create my base card. So I'm going to add adhesive to the side flap of that front panel and adhere it to the second panel on the side where it doesn't have the flap. Once that is completed, I'm going to make sure that all of my folds are reinforced, and I'm going to give it a little test run to see if the mechanism works, and it's a go. Once you know your mechanism works, you can close up the card. I will be adding adhesive to that right side flap on that back panel, and then I will be adhering my C panel to close up the card, and my mechanism still works, and we're good. I will just be decorating my card now with different images from the Mermaid Kisses stamp set. I wanted my mermaid to come up right behind the rocks, so I'm just placing my images accordingly. I'm putting my mermaid on the wiper mechanism and the rocks in front of it on that ocean panel. I'm adding little mermaids and different little accessories, and my card is done. I love this card. It was one of my favorites. For the next card, I'm using the Landscape Trio dies, and I'm just using one of the simple hills. So this is the wiper die that I'm going to use for this card. And again, I'm just using every single one so you see where the placement is and you see where the image pops up. And I've put an E where my embossed elephant is. So I'm taking my wiper die and I'm putting it on the spine of my base card and making sure that it's adhered nicely. And then I'm going to give the card a test run before I seal the card on the other side. And always remember to put adhesive only on that flap area. Now that my mechanism works, I'm ready to adhere my images. And again, I'm using white for the wiper because I want you to see how it interacts with the card when you pull it. However, if you're making, I guess, a real card, I would try to match the background or use pattern paper or something like that so your card looks more cohesive. So I've just attached images from the Little Chickie agenda, which is the latest released from February. So for my last card, I'm using the Kingdom Trio dies, and this is the wiper that I'm going to use for this card. It's the long one. I'm putting an E where my embossed elephant is, and I'm just reinforcing the score lines that are already on my die cut. Now that I've reinforced my score lines that are already on the die cut, I'm just going to do the folds. And then whenever you score something, you always want to make sure you're folding into the raised side of your score line. Prepping my card base, so I'm taking my front panel, cut with the mountain die from the Kingdom Trio dies, and I'm just reinforcing my score lines and folding it. And then here is that back panel. I'm scoring that as well, and I'm folding it. Now I'm ready to work on my base card. I'm taking my mountain panel and I'm putting adhesive on the flap on the left side, and I'm adhering it to the second panel. Taking my wiper piece, I'm putting adhesive where my embossed elephant is, making sure my elephant's feet are on the ground, and applying it to the spine of my card base. I'm going to give my card a little test run, and then now that I know that it works, I'm going to seal it up by putting adhesive on the right side flap of the back panel. Now I'm going to put my images and decorate this card. I'm going to put a little dragon on the wiper piece, and then I'm also going to put another dragon on that right side flap. And there's my card. Okay guys, stay with me. This is the last wiper die that we're going to work with. I'm also going to use the Landscape Trio die, the Clouds die cut in particular. Here's the last wiper die we're going to work with. I'm going to put an E where my embossed elephant is. I'm going to reinforce the score lines. And then I will fold my wiper piece. Just make sure everything is burnished and scored nicely. I'm ready to work on my base card. I'm scoring all the lines, folding them, making sure that all my scores are nice and burnished. And then I will be applying adhesive to that front panel. And then I will only put it on the flap, and then I will adhere it to the back panel. I'm going to take my wiper mechanism, making sure that I'm only putting adhesive where the embossed elephant is, making sure my elephant's feet are on the ground, and putting it on the spine of my base card. Going to give it a little test run, and we work, so we're ready to close up the card. Putting adhesive just on that flap, and then putting the front flap over it to create my wiper card. For this card, I'm using Tiny Heroes, and I'm putting my image on that wiper piece, and then I'm putting two little animals on top of my sentiment. I'm going to test out the card a final time, and we work. Yay! And we're done! I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Happy crafting. Bye, guys!